This is the terrible Angry Birds movie. The first of a franchise that's somehow getting a third movie under a different studio in 2027, a full 11 years after this 2016 original. I don't know what's going on either. This first movie releasing at a time where it was already thought the games were losing their cultural impact. Something their owners Rovio could not face the truth of, namely as it's basically the only thing they've got going for them. But no, we're getting a third movie for this franchise that peaked in 2012. The Angry Birds trilogy will be completed, and today we'll be looking at how this grandfather of projectile bird movies made its name. Co-produced between Rovio and Sony the year before they released the Emoji Movie, may I add. This didn't do too badly, to be fair. $352 million to be precise, and didn't cost too much to make either. But what was the quality of this motion picture? Well, I guess we'll take a look. We begin with a score that thinks this is the second coming, combined with a Rovio logo that looks like it's A24, before ascending on honestly a pretty good looking establishing shot of the island. Before we begin to hear the familiar theme pour through the score, leading us to our introduction of Red, which is cool because clearly he's embarrassed. And we are straight into a bit of slapstick. Don't hate it, classic cartoon stuff. It does directly rip off the flushed away pipes to balls gag, but hey, it does the job. Giblets! Angry Birds is all about catapulting characters to knock stuff over. You're gonna want some knockabout comedy going on. We even have our first catapult moment. And whilst nothing original, I have to say the physical comedy is particularly well animated here. It's very crisp animation for sure. And it turns out he's late for a birthday party, or hatch day as they call it.
You must be so disappointed in yourself for being this late.
Oh, okay. Seems like a scenario you could insert into any movie, in contrast to this very unique looking bird island that we've been introduced to. But we'll run with it. I'm gonna have to also approach this in a similar way to the Cars movies in not overthinking the logic. Like squirrels and other creatures being non-anthropomorphized, whilst the birds and pigs are. It's a fantasy world, we can run with that. However, I'm then reminded of the kind of humor that this movie goes for a lot.
See anything back there?
First 10 minutes, guy exposes a child to his bare butt. Great. And this is also the point where we see how they've worked in the angry of Angry Birds. You see, rather than invading pigs, we have Red as an angry character.
This cake is on you!
Which, in trying to make a movie out of a mobile game, I think was one of the better adaptation choices in principle. Having a protagonist with a temper in a movie called Angry Birds makes sense, there's logic there. Yet here's the thing, in execution, it also feels a tad contrived. I feel like they're going on a brief of, this is Red, and his personality is angry. They seem to give backstory a quick go with a school flashback that weirdly isn't even signposted, with the kids all making fun of his eyebrows, i.e. just lifting the Grinch's original story. So apparently the angry eyebrows were first, the anger came second. If anything, I love the idea of a writer's room looking at that design from game and thinking, so how'd that guy's eyebrows get like that? They essentially go through every loser pastiche in the book, right down to thinking the girl's waving at you. Yeah, it's this character playbook. Not that these early moments don't have any merit. I love the gag of the woodpecker being the courtroom artist, followed by his carving featuring the game character designs. But enough of that, let's have the judge spell out the character flaw plainly.
There seems to be a recurring issue here. Anger.
To be fair, no use to beat around the bush, it's literally in the title. And so, Red is sentenced to anger management class. Okay, yeah, I buy it. We then have the walk through the neighborhood sequence. Very colorful setting and designs, looking pretty good. Then this sequence where they still seem to have a crossing lady for kids and old people, in a world where they don't have cars. This is like the opposite logic question for Cars. It's for a gag of him being held up, but why don't you just walk around the pavement, buddy? Why is there a distinction between road and pavement in this world? There's also this mime character who keeps turning up, because we've never seen that character before. Again, I think the writers just watched Flushed Away and took bits from it for this. But then again, there's a bit of slapstick that I actually thought was funny. That being Red managing to have a fight with an inanimate object. Despite the overall thing not being great, there are some moments in this that I do appreciate. It's here that we then meet the other main birds from the game. I can't really say characters from the game. I'm pretty sure there was zero personality to them until this movie. You've got the fast one, you've got the big one, and you've got the domestic terrorist. Anyway, here we meet Josh Gad as the speedy character, so no one has long enough to notice that Olaf's turned into a bird.
Simple speeding ticket.
And that's impressive in a world without any cars, as far as I can see. On to another funny bit. The big guy. It's the make him sound terrible without even saying it aloud trope.
Terrence seems to have had an incident.
However, the added screams and police siren playing over the shot of his face intensifies the joke.
Tell us your story, Bomb.
Honestly, it was kind of easier when the one that blows himself up didn't have a personality. Let's see how this movie tackles that old chestnut. He's literally called Bomb in this one as well. But not to worry, when he blows up in this one, he's still there afterwards. Interesting to see Jason Sudeikis as Red interacting with the big guy growling at him, considering that's the exact same dynamic Ted Lasso has with Roy Kent. You heard it here first, Ted Lasso ripped off the Angry Birds movie. They have a little yoga attempt, the bomb goes off, of course, and then we have Red be mean to everyone on the walk home.
It's charming up to a point, and now it's just sad.
Which does kind of float around the question of, at what point does a character's mean-spirited side become unlikable? Because this once again brings me to the original draft of Toy Story, where Woody was so mean-spirited that they ended up reworking the entire first script. And that's not even my big issue with his character and his position in this bird island place. We have more of Red moping through the street. He's an angry guy, didn't you know? More bits of people having a better life without him, and then more absurdly cruel childhood flashbacks.
He doesn't know that. He doesn't have parents.
Also, this guy just has to have the worst backstory, doesn't he? No family and everyone being awful to him since he was a child, and apparently he's the problem? Like, which one is it, movie? He's meant to learn not to be so angry, and then apparently the society that has been objectively nasty to him since he was an orphan child will just accept him eventually? Screw that, I don't blame the guy for being so angry. And yet, despite this backstory, his anger still feels like a surface level thing because it was literally contrived from what they called the game. It's that same superficially great but actually cruel world building that we saw all the way back in Chicken Little. God, there's just no hope for poultry in animated movies. Except this time there's no parents, which to be fair is preferable to having Buck Cluck around with his manual to toxic parenting. The 2005 throwback doesn't end there either, as an old-fashioned pop-punk track starts playing for this first I'm sad bit of the movie. We're just living the out-of-date movies formula for this one. And now, just over 20 minutes in, we're finally introduced to the rest of the plot. Yep, it's the pigs, who have absolutely not had any setup whatsoever. We knew they were coming, but the movie basically becomes a completely different story from there. Honestly, go for it, pig pirates, pillage this toxic community. We then have a morning routine sequence featuring a gross out gag that I particularly hate because it makes complete sense and they are fully in play to make it. Like, it has no right to be as good a joke as it is. What a shame that it's caged into the Angry Birds movie. Back to the anger class, and Red continues on his now wearing thin anger dialogue.
I was gonna do it, but then I thought about it and I realized, oh, this is a huge waste of my time.
Like, there is a point where the sarcasm gets a tad exhausting, and that is basically this entire character. It's like having a whole movie from the guy in Wish who's supposed to represent Grumpy. But oh no, turns out that the model from the fight yesterday was Chucks. And Red has managed to make the anger management class hate him, which is pretty impressive. Well, is it? I guess they're already predisposed to be hateful. But anyway, that doesn't last long because the actual plot has just invaded in, and of course, destroyed Red's house. Should be kind of tragic, that house basically being the closest to a friendly environment he even has in this world. But instead, it's played as a gag for him to feel bad.
It's such a shame when you create something and someone just destroys it.
My guy, there's your crappy wooden bird, and then there's a guy's actual house. This whole island and plot is just leveled against him, isn't it?
Greetings from my world, the world of the pigs.
And to be fair, they don't go straight in for them invading everything. There's some actual build-up going on with initial pleasantries, in which I learned for the first time that the judge bird is also the head of the island. Did not get that earlier at all. On to the evening scene for some birdie-piggy international relations, in which more of the iconography of the game is literally unwrapped. And after heckling the presentation, I think we all know where this setup's going.
How about the red guy with the enormous eyebrows?
Yep, we're getting the game in full cinematic presentation. Cinema.
Ready! Hey! Fire! This seems really unnatural!
Which is also another point to return to, them really leaning into the flightless bird element of this universe that they keep going back to.
Who says birds don't fly?
I mean, sure, in the game, the birds don't really fly, but I don't know if we needed that popping in regularly as a theme. Naturally, the catapult fires him off straight to their unattended ship.
This is an impressive
Inside voice, come on.
In which, amongst other things, they find some cars to populate that road, so the crossing lady finally makes sense. Great. And then...
Looks like there's some more stuff down here.
We were hiding.
And as reliable as anything, we have Red breaking the news, but because the universe is just against him, everyone hates him for it and believes the pigs.
You've shamed not only yourself, but our entire community.
I can't wait for these damn birds to get invaded by these pigs. Guess it's time for montaging of this poor guy having an awful life whilst the pigs ingratiate themselves. This Birds and the Bee Fertility Center is interesting though.
Spoiler alert.
Back to anger management class, and he's just expected to be alright with his home both broken and occupied, and everyone hating him and everything going wrong for him? Not one point in this class yet has anyone just asked, "Are you okay?" In anger management class. Yeah, let's just do some painting and avoid the mental health situation. Oh dear, maybe I need to be in these classes. Anyway, we have some forgettable gags about Zen and the like before the pigs are here again with a dumb social media joke.
Instaham.
I mean, come on. That's not good. That's the precursor to the Emoji Movie material right there. Before the main man here has a romantic fantasy with an in-canon unborn child. Though of course, this is to set up that the pigs want the eggs for food and that's why they're here. And post Instaham, the back and forth between Red and Leonard is as creative as you'd expect.
I thought you said you stored your nuts for winter. Burn.
Surely this guy's been burnt enough at this point.
Because if you're explorers, then why are there more of you coming, huh?
Another point for the dumb villagers to ignore as more of this house is destroyed. This whole middle section is just the same formula again and again at this point. It's just pretty exhausting.
Your opinion is not needed.
Like, it's not just the negativity of the main character, it's everyone's negative treatment of him on a constant spiral down, capped off with a real highlight of the dialogue.
That went well. If you're me, burn.
Like, the dialogue had gotten away with being competent to a point, namely because of the vocal performances being pretty strong throughout, but now I'm seeing the cracks. But there's some decent visual gags to still enjoy though. Bomb's house being called Bomb Shelter tickled me in the sense that I was completely straight-faced throughout this entire movie, but internally, I appreciated the joke. The exhale almost came out my nose. Exactly the same sentiment of the 2D animation sequence for Mighty Eagle.
Tasty! Yum, yum, yum.
Though it also continues this half-committed implication that Chuck is gay, and I can't tell whether it passes the vibe check or not.
They're just walking around naked, just presenting themselves.
That part about them I really admire.
At the very least, it feels like just another example of pointing at a character whilst clearly trying to avoid any weight from doing so. Just have him stare at his leather-bound butt whilst he stands by with a woman's wig on, because it would be weird if it was a guy watching. Anyway, Red's asking for help, but he can't get it without more Red bashing.
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear you over your ego.
This bird's life's just been terrible, hasn't it? And it's just more sarcasm loaded back and forth that I'm just completely over at this point. This movie keeps going back to that well like they're in the middle of a drought, you know? And off they go on a sped up Shrek quest without any of the charm. We are more than halfway through the movie after all.
Stop making Mighty Eagle noises!
After some snippets of adventure, because they have to fit it all inside of 2 minutes, they reach the place that nobody has discovered before. Like, no one thought the big eagle-shaped mountain was worth a look. And there he is, the eagle who... And this goes on for over a minute. A minute of peeing. He needs a doctor. Before he can get on with his I am Oz fake-out routine. Oldest twist in the book. I'm a very good man, just a very bad mighty eagle over here. How many times have we seen the legend is a letdown trope at this point? They're also lucky that the Angry Birds fanbase isn't like Sonic or Pokemon's, because I'm pretty sure that revealing the most powerful bird of the bunch from the games like this would, pardon the pun, ruffle one or two feathers.
Bring it home, mamacita.
And just to really get us a full house on kids movie bingo, this eagle breaks out into an unfunny dance.
Yeah.
And by the end of the movie, they really want you to think that this scene was a highlight, because he does this dance through the end credits too. They think they've done a full Tropic Thunder number with this character, so they just rip off that ending as well. It's interesting that I'm just seeing a bunch of other movies in this one, and not in a referencey way, it's more of a copied their homework sort of way. Meanwhile, the pigs are still reeling out other objects from the game like it's a big moment. I'm just imagining the Angry Birds fandom clapping at the balloons coming out like Chicken Jockey. Angry Birds 3, you still have time to completely meme yourself. I could see it. If anyone actually still plays the games by the time it comes out anyway. Again, 18 years after the game came out. So the bikes are now riding around the roads that were made before this island knew that vehicles existed. That worked out pretty well.
Almost there. Don't rush me.
Except, no crossing guard lady now. Where is she? Her job finally became relevant. Also, fun fact in the UK, we call them the lollipop lady because they're holding a sign that looks like, well, you can work that part out. Anyway, now the eagle's done the generic dance scene, he's now moved on to the generic character's funny because he's singing badly scene.
Defender of our homes and liberty.
Playing all the hits. Though I do initially quite like the three of them pretending that this was played to them in school, only for Eagle to press them to sing the other verses. That's, what, the third decent comedy set piece to turn up in an hour into this movie? And even then, it outstays its welcome at over 2 minutes of bad singing. And to finish it off, he's a pervert as well.
Take a peek.
Oh, you're disgusting.
Oh yeah.
I'm not here to cancel Mighty Eagle, but that's like 1999 animated movie humor, rather than 2016. What was Sony on at this phase? This and the Emoji Movie stuff as well? But anyway, we learn through his creepy binoculars that the pigs are escalating their plans. Presumably setting us up for one more scene of Red telling everyone, followed by them shrugging him off and calling him a loser. That's been the bulk of this movie so far. Just a reminder that even Chicken Little only had 2 scenes like that. But first, we've got to have Mighty Eagle pull a Metro Man on the situation just to copy another movie.
I don't do that anymore. I'm retired.
Mostly just tired.
Though suddenly this movie about a smartphone game briefly gets a bit too real.
The fate of the world hangs on idiots like me. And that, sir, is sort of terrifying.
Like, damn, the dialogue decided to be good for a second. Before we descend into the birds in the middle of a Minions Hotel Transylvania coded rave scene. Whilst the pigs steal their eggs and bomb their homes.
Right on time. Excellent.
And as Red and Co attempt to save the eggs, Bomb has to encourage himself to blow up.
Come on, Bob, you can do this.
He, in fact, doesn't do this, giving him a character arc to resolve later. A character arc revolving around someone trying to blow themselves up, which would be problematic in pretty much any other context. And so the birds go through the aftermath of their robbed and bombed village, a decidedly dark turn in the story.
We'll find them.
Like, this movie went from average kids movie tropes to destroyed village really quickly. It's like Mulan, where it suddenly stops being a musical after a certain point. And after repressing him his whole life for having no parents and weird eyebrows, this happens.
Mr. Red! What do we do now?
Really just gonna drop that onto his doorstep after all the crap you put this guy through? Not to worry, Chuck has an interesting suggestion.
We start replacing those kids. Ladies, get busy!
Anyway, Red's plan is to build their own boat and arsenal to go on the counterattack. Yes, this has become a war movie.
We're birds! We're descended from dinosaurs! We're not supposed to be nice!
I do wonder where this movie stands timeline-wise. Like, is the pitch that these characters are the birds' versions of The Missing Link, where birds hadn't learnt to fly yet? And pigs are apparently the dominant species? Because I thought this was a fantasy world, but now there's dinosaurs. And then he says the thing.
I need some angry, flocking birds.
Round of applause for the movie. They got the thing in. Cue montage featuring game iconography to set up a climax that will inevitably be a giant homage to said game. That's literally what I'm presuming fans wanted out of this movie. Dynamite, catapult, it's all there. Not that it's a bad thing. Meanwhile, the pigs are going full British Empire, complete with monarchy and returning from an expedition with a bunch of stuff that doesn't belong to them and destroying the lives of the locals in the process.
I proclaim a feast!
Meanwhile, the birds come in all Braveheart to get their eggs back. Complete with the moment we've waited for, we've actually gotten to the bit where they played out the game.
Who wants to go first?
Over here.
I do.
Me.
In which everyone has their power moves on attack, which they never really bother explaining, but do they really need to? We're far beyond anything in this movie making sense.
My teacher can shoot fireballs out of her butt.
Yeah, sure, that'll do. I know it's literally the game, but it's kind of mad that in narrative, everyone's just agreed to Red's plan of let's just launch our bodies with such velocity that it knocks over several buildings. And it seems as they're not suddenly popping out of existence like in the game. What are they doing once they're there? Hiding? Also, they missed the opportunity to keep the mime gag going here.
Oh my God!
I guess the gag is he broke his silence, but it would have been way better if he was holding a sign or something. By the way, was this another fan-pleasing moment?
Just look where the last bird went and adjust from there.
I presume so. They have the full host of power moves too, even the orange guy who blows up like a pufferfish. But just as we start to appreciate the game references, we have to cut back to the eagle, not just doing another unfunny dance, but this time he's rickrolled us. And I've got to say, it is really difficult to use this song in a movie and somehow make it not funny, but here we are. And yes, he's on the way now too. But anyway, we're now at the moment of the quintessential iconography of the game. It's Red's turn.
Rest in peace, my friend.
Fire!
It's funny because they should totally all die from doing this. And in a shot that looks a bit Dwayne Johnson Black Adam meme-y, he finally does the face. And true to the game, his impact is something, if not overwhelming. That's game accuracy. Less accurately, the planes aren't hanging from ropes in the sky. Boo. And it's not just the game reference here, that's some completely unsubtle movie homages too.
Red rum.
Not even redressed for the context of the movie, just a direct pull of a scene from The Shining for some reason. This movie's MO is taking stuff from other movies. Alas, Chuck gets his own Quicksilver scene. That's a lot of better movies we're being reminded of in a short space of time. Anyway, Red climbs on the piggy's egg sac to try and cut it open. Look, I've had to deal with this movie. You can deal with that sentence and live with it. Also, these eggs seem to be fertilized rather than the ones we eat, so they're about to boil a sack of unborn children. Why is the context of this movie really dark when you think about it?
Looks like it's just you and me, pork belly.
Egg sack antics ensue until Red summons the mighty eagle and...
You can sleep late, Mom. It's not a school day.
Again, is this a choice to upset the fans? To be fair, the actual mighty eagle sweep from the games would have just ended the climax. And he carries off the eggs, so he has his role. Right, time for another line from every movie ever.
You just don't know when to stop, do you?
Nice. Whilst we're at it, should we fulfill that attempted counter arc from earlier?
Come on, Bomb. You can do this.
Thank you. Just saying, as we go through the pig's world with homes and cars and bowling, they seem to have it pretty good until the king attacked the birds and stole their eggs.
You can't eat eggs!
I have a friend who's egg intolerant, so that's literally the voice inside of his body. And by the looks of it, the king dies? Maybe, but at least Red gets his false death moment, complete with family missing their egg.
I think he might be dead.
I mean, I guess it's one better than the unconscious body that suddenly awakens with a huge gasp of air. Nice to have a break from that.
He's alive!
Wait, he's still in the village in the distance. How can they see him from there? But anyway, he's here with one more fan-pleasing moment. Quick, get him in the catapult!
I think these belong to you.
And we end on a line as good quality as the bulk of this entire movie.
He's blushing.
I'm not blushing, I'm just red.
What a closer. Only it's not, because this movie had another ending to do. Gotta get that village rebuilt. And whilst they're at it, the village comes together to build Red a new house, and an incredibly labor-intensive method of avoiding having to say sorry. Because I'm still kinda sore of how awful these people were to him.
Welcome back to the village.
You're not getting a pass from me. House Schmaus, apologize to the damn Redbird. Because they literally never do. We just have an annoying child choir song instead.
Mighty, mighty Red, you rescued me.
Once again, going on for way too long. Also, this movie has the girl who showed no interest in guy earlier has now succumbed to him bit, even after she read about his atrocities at the start of the movie. And we finally end on a Scrooge fake-out moment.
Okay, see you later.
Let's just go home.
I'm just messing with you. Get in here.
God bless us, everyone. And that's the Angry Birds movie. Except no, because don't forget, we have the Tropic Thunder rip-off credits with the eagle. No, there's not a post-credit one for the fans. And then, that's the movie. Pulled a Return of the King on us there. And look, I know that there are a lot worse movies out there than the Angry Birds movie, but I still think it's pretty terrible. Being a video game adaptation of a mobile app game made in 2016, it's gonna be floundering in a lot of ways, and really, it just ends up a little bit underwhelming in all regards. It copies a lot of the tropes of other movies to stitch something together, because to be honest, making an Angry Birds adaptation at all sounds pretty horrendous. 2D birds fling in a catapult? I don't know how you would adapt that. And maybe if I was a bigger fan of the games, the actual direct references would have had a bigger impact on me. But also, I just don't think it was a movie that was very warranted. It was already past its prime when this came out, and now there's a third movie coming out too, so fans certainly weren't ecstatic. It doesn't have huge numbers, but it's getting a third movie nonetheless. Can't wait to watch that. And chances are, it's worse than this one too, if I was to make a prediction anyway. For now though, my name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this terrible episode. Do tell me your thoughts on the Angry Birds movie. What would you adapt to make it better? Or do you think it's great? All opinions on it are valid, and I'd love to hear all of your thoughts and more. But for now, I shall see you all in a little bit. Cheerio!